There's a certain kind of person you might know. They go through life feeling like they're missing a spark. Everyone around them seems to have a passion, a drive, something they care about so deeply it defines them. But not this person. They exist in a sort of gray middle ground. They're not exactly depressed, but they aren't happy either. They're just there. Maybe this sounds like someone you know. Maybe it sounds like you. Our culture is completely obsessed with passion. Follow your passion. Do what you love. It's everywhere. So if you don't have that burning need to do something, if you can't name that one thing that makes you feel alive, you can start to feel broken. Like you're missing a piece everyone else was born with. But here's what's so interesting about people who feel they have no passion. They're not lazy. They're not unmotivated. That's what everyone assumes, but it's not true. It's something much more complex. People who feel this way often describe their lives as empty. They're just going through the motions. They wake up, do what's expected, go to bed, and feel nothing about any of it. Not sadness, not frustration, just nothing. And that emptiness is its own unique kind of pain. It's the pain of disconnection. It's being unable to access the part of yourself that feels deeply about anything. If you watch someone in this state, you'll notice they're actually really good at what they do. They're competent. They show up. They do the work. But there's no aliveness in it. It's like they're performing life rather than living it. They do things because they're supposed to, because it's the next logical step, not because they actually want to. Passion is tied to feeling. It's tied to excitement, anticipation, and hope. People who feel passionless often struggle with feeling anything at all. They can experience something that should move them, a beautiful sunset, a special moment with a loved one, a big achievement, feel nothing. And that can be terrifying. How do you know you're alive if you don't feel anything? This is different from depression. Depression can feel like an active pain, like you're drowning. This is more like being numb. It's like watching your own life from behind a glass wall. You can see what's happening. You can analyze it. You can even participate. But you can't feel it. What's fascinating is that people experiencing this often have incredibly active minds. They think constantly. They analyze everything. They understand intellectually why something should matter. They can list all the reasons why a goal is important or why they should be excited. But the feeling just doesn't follow. The spark doesn't ignite. This creates a huge disconnect between what they know and what they feel. So they end up living lives that look perfect on paper. A good job, decent relationships, stable circumstances. They've checked all the boxes. But internally, there's this sense of going nowhere, of wasting time, of just existing without actually living. And that gap between their external life and their internal emptiness creates a special kind of despair. They often become observers, watching other people's passions from the sidelines. They see friends get excited about hobbies or work toward goals, and they feel a mix of envy and confusion. How do you just care about something like that? How do you want something enough to work for it? Sometimes they'll try to force it. They'll pick something they think they should be passionate about and throw themselves into it. They'll tell themselves, "This is it. This is my thing." And, for a little while, they might even create the appearance of passion. But underneath, they still feel nothing. The harder they try to force the feeling, the more disconnected they become. This lack of passion makes decision-making almost impossible. Most people use passion as a compass. It pulls them in a certain direction. But without that feeling, decisions become purely logical. And logic alone can be paralyzing, because there's always a good reason to do something, and an equally good reason not to. Without that inner feeling to break the tie, they end up stuck. Or worse, they make choices based on what they think they should want, leading to careers that feel like jobs and hobbies that feel like obligations. The deeper psychology here is about a disconnection from the self. Passion isn't something you find out there in the world. It comes from within. It comes from knowing yourself well enough to know what truly matters to you. From being able to access your authentic emotions and desires. Often, people who feel passionless have disconnected from those parts of themselves a long time ago. Sometimes as a way to cope with past hurts. If this resonates with you, know that you're not broken. This feeling of numbness is a sign, a signal that something needs attention. Reconnecting with yourself is a journey, not a race. It often starts small, by simply noticing what gives you even a tiny flicker of interest. What makes you feel even a little bit curious. You don't need a roaring fire. A single spark is enough to start. It may be helpful to talk to a therapist or a counselor who can guide you on this path of rediscovery. Have you ever wondered where your passion went? That feeling of being truly alive. It often starts in childhood. Children are naturally passionate. They feel everything intensely, incur sadness. But what happens when a child learns their feelings aren't welcome? Maybe a parent got angry when they cried, or dismissed their excitement. Maybe they grew up in a home where emotions were seen as weakness, where the rule was to stay in control and not be a burden. So, the child learns to push their feelings down. Over time, they get so good at it that they can't access their emotions anymore, even when they want to. Others grew up with unpredictable parents, where one moment was calm and the next was explosive. The child learned that the safest place was the middle ground. No high highs, no low lows, just flat and stable, because stable meant you couldn't get blindsided. Some had to become invisible because their parents were consumed by their own struggles. They learned not to need anything, not to feel anything that required attention. So they muted their inner world. Still others grew up in achievement-focused homes, where their worth was tied to what they did, not who they were. Passion was only okay if it led to results. Feelings were a distraction from productivity. So, they learned to numb themselves and focus on the metrics. Eventually, numbness became their default state. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. People disconnect from the part of themselves that feels. It keeps them safe from being hurt or overwhelmed, but in the long term, it costs them everything. It costs them joy, passion, and the feeling of being alive. And here's the cruel twist. They often feel guilty about it. They see passionate people and feel like failures, thinking something is wrong with them for not caring more. This self-judgment only deepens the numbness. But passion isn't a fixed trait you either have or you don't. It's the result of being connected to yourself, of allowing yourself to feel, of giving yourself permission to care about things, even if no one else gets it. Reconnecting isn't about finding some big external thing to light you up. It's the internal work of learning to feel again. It's slowly, carefully accessing the emotions you've been avoiding. It's about noticing the tiny sparks of interest and not immediately dismissing them. It's about healing the wounds that made you disconnect in the first place and learning that your feelings matter. Passion doesn't have to be about a grand career or calling. It can be about the way light hits water, a great conversation with a friend, or the process of learning something new. It can be small, quiet, and completely yours. The journey back is slow. Learning to access yourself again. Learning to let yourself care. If this resonates with you, if you recognize yourself in this numbness, that recognition is the first step. You can't heal what you don't see. The disconnection made sense. It kept you safe. But maybe it's costing you too much now. It's worth asking yourself, why did you disconnect? The wounds that made you numb can also teach you about your own sensitivity and how much you truly feel underneath. Understanding these patterns is what we explore here at The Forgotten Self. We examine the hidden psychology behind who we've become. If this helped you see something new about yourself, subscribe. We're building a community where numbness can be named and passion can be reclaimed. Until next time, notice what moves you, even if it's small.